Yo, what's going on? Good morning, crusty crew. Let me adjust. Let me take the chroma key filter off of this camera. There we go. Let me move some stuff out of the way. I can actually brew home. Let me go get the that better? The best. That seems pretty good. Alright, let me go get the scale and the kettle and the spoon to stir. Okay, BRB. Okay, got that kettle. Got our coffee here. Little Chemex hat, as I call it. Oh, we forgot the scale. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Let's add our ground coffee. We just ground up like a couple of minutes ago. Shake it. Okay. Pair it. Pull up the timer. Okay, let's get to brewing. Let's get to fighting. On our way. Doing a 3-to-1 bloom. Really stirring in here. Okay, the coffee we're brewing up today is from Blossom Coffee, which I think I've had once before. This is from Ethiopia. So Ethiopian coffee. Fully washed, dried on raised beds, varietal, indigenous heirloom cultivars. We taste blueberry, magnolia, plum, juicy. That's interesting how they put we taste because there is sort of, I don't know how to say it. I guess there's there is some level of subjective and objective to like tasting stuff. And what I mean is, like, you can actually plant coffee plants in regions like, or on a lot that's like neighboring apple trees or something, right? And so if you plant your apple trees, it's possible that in the soil that the coffee plants could acquire, you know, just some of the flavors of the apple tree, right? And you might taste apple. Other times there's no apple trees around, and then for some reason it tastes like apple. It's kind of like wine, you know. There is like a there is a subjective like you know, layer to it of. To me, it tastes like green grapes, but so like even though like green grapes weren't planted like near the coffee plant, right? There's a reality that like if you eat grapes often and everybody that's tasting it, like the roasters, are familiar with what green grape tastes like, you know, they might all conclude, yeah, it does taste like green grapes, you know. So there's a level of agreement to that, yeah. And so that's why I say when we taste, it's like, well, you know, the coffee industry is a lot like the wine industry. They do train their palates, constantly tasting fruits, nuts, all kinds of stuff, just to familiarize yourself with, like, so when you come across tasting nuts, you go, oh, what does that taste like? Here's Nathan. Yo, what's going on, Nate? How you doing, man? Are you biking right now on the Strand, or are you at home right now? We're brewing a double batch, 600 grams of water to 40 grams of coffee. Double batch because usually I brew 20 grams of coffee to 300 grams of water, which is a 1:15 ratio. 1:15 ratio has like always been my go-to in terms of like brew strength. Played around with it's funny. I've played around with 16 and 18, but not so much 17. There's sometimes I've actually like chosen in the moment to go, oh, let's make this a 18 instead of 15, or let's make this a 17 to 1 instead of 15. 1:15, you get just a little more upfront flavors. 18's more nuanced. 18's pretty. So if you drink 1:15, 18 almost tastes like, to some people, like as if you didn't brew it, right? But I think the SCA handbook, I think that's like their standard of like what they brew. It's like with a 1:18 ratio, so. Just left my house on the way. Nice. I need some breakfast. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. I got out of bed like around like 9 o'clock. I can drink coffee on an empty stomach, but it's kind of like my rule with like alcohol is that like, you know, caffeine and alcohol can be pretty harsh if you like have nothing in your stomach, right? So my rule is like at least try to get something in my stomach if I'm gonna drink coffee. But again, I have before, and there's been plenty of times I've been okay, but there's a lot of times like it just gives me too extreme of jitters and just makes my stomach hurt. Be right back, gonna toss the filter. Okay, here we go. Here is the end product here. And this little cap. Sorry, here's a little cap you put like that. It helps, but it's not like perfect because as you can see, like the way it sits, it's like you could drop it in and it doesn't really sit like straight. You know, there's obviously that big gap. You can see it right there. But I mean, I would say that this is better than nothing in terms of like trying to keep it warm. I got up at 6. Nice. That's awesome, bro. That's straight up like what a lot of dads do, right? On Saturday, get up at 5, the whole like joke. All right, let me go put all this stuff back. Kettle, the scale. I'm actually a morning person, so I just get up early enough to do all my work so that the rest of the day I can relax. Nice. What up? What's going on, bro? What's up, Zach? How you doing, man? Morning. We just finished brewing up some coffee in our Chemex. And then we got these from Trader Joe's. The cookie butter. You guys ever had their cookie butter from Trader Joe's? It comes like in the jars. You like spread on stuff. I'll eat that stuff straight. I don't need to put it on toast or anything. I'll eat it straight. But they made like these cookies with the cookie butter. I haven't had breakfast yet, so it's probably the easiest to eat while on stream. I mean, I could bring a full-on bowl of cereal over and like eat it on stream, but like that's just like messy. Oh, we actually used to do like eating cereal on stream. So during like the pandemic, when I used to stream, I don't know if you guys probably don't remember this, but there was times I streamed 7 days a week during the pandemic because there was like just nothing to do. And it was at night, but we would do like cereal time on stream where like it was probably 3/4 of the way through the stream. It was like we'd all take a break, go get our cereal, and then go watch YouTube videos like together on stream. Bro, those look bomb. That spread is bomb AF. Yeah, it is. I'll give those a shot. Yeah, they're pretty good, man. Cheers, folks. Do you hear the slurp? They always tell you when your coffee's like extremely hot when you're trying to taste it. Because the reality is that you can't really drink coffee unless it like cools down. I mean, it just objectively you can't. I mean, people could like try to act tough, but it's not the issue of being tough. It's that scientifically you can't pick up those flavors. So when I was doing my coffee training in Stumptown, they were like, as things are further from your body temperature, it's harder to pick up. That's why, like, if you ever have like really hot like soup or something or broth, you're like it tastes like water, or even coffee or tea, right? But as it cools down, like you taste more of it. That's because like as it's getting closer to your body temperature, you're able to pick it up more. That also works the same way for really cold stuff. That's why like really cheap beer tastes really good ice cold, but then like when you have it like room temp, it tastes like funky. And that's what. Oh, so that's also the test, right? When something is truly good, it'll taste good hot. Sorry, it'll taste as good hot as it is like room temp. If that makes sense, or cold as it is room temp. So like good beer, tastes good ice cold, as well as when it gets room temp. When the beer tastes gross room temp, that's because you're starting to taste all the flavors for what it really is. It's easy to hide, like that's what I'm saying is like it's easy to hide something that tastes bad behind extreme temperatures, but as it gets closer to your body temp, that'll really reveal how bad it is. That's even like, I don't know if you guys remember like in the 90s and the 2000s, like those like sugar drinks. It's literally just like, they don't even have like flavors. It's just like, yo, this is purple flavor. This is blue flavor. This is green flavor. Those things taste great ice cold, but if you drink those things like room temp, it was literally like having like cough syrup with some sugar in it. It was gross. I need coffee. My Keurig broke, and so so am I. We're waiting to get a new coffee pot. I think I saw one at Walmart for 10. Yeah. There you go, bro. Couldn't agree more with the beer. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so the whole slurping thing, there's a couple things to it, right? Like as if you're sucking like ramen noodles. Two things happen when you slurp with hot coffee. It aerates it, so it spreads it across your palate, so it's just like it's easier to drink. Which so by the time it's like kind of like resting on your tongue inside your mouth, it's like cooler because you've like incorporated a bunch of air. But it also works for like when you're trying to when you're tasting coffee, you're supposed to like when you're really trying to taste it, not just sip and enjoy. When you're really trying to taste it, you like slurp it, because as you incorporate air, that because it blasts it all over your palate, it's like, you remember your tongue, like how like it's divided up to like all the different sections of your tongue are supposed to pick up like sweetness, bitterness, fruitiness, or I forgot what it was, right? Like the tongue's divided up. So by like slurping coffee in, you spread the coffee all over your tongue, not just so you're like tasting it in one spot. So that way, like all the flavors in the coffee are spread out over your tongue. So when you're like sipping it or like slurping it, you could taste it for what it really is. But I mean that can also work as you drink your coffee more. It's like you're coating your palate. Like just casual drinking, the more and more you drink, it stays in your mouth, so you're just coating your palate over and over. That's the slow way. But if you wanted to drink it hot, like piping hot, too hot to enjoy, you slurp it like that. Okay, let's adjust the cameras. Adjust the cameras, folks. Let's get back to a normal scene here. Okay. Plug our keyboard back in. I had to move my keyboard out of the way. There we go. Had to move my keyboard out of the way so I could get the Chemex on my or my desk. Let's see. Mouse is back. Where's Allie and the baby? They actually went to the park and the library with Mimi and I think Sarah? And the baby? What's happening? I just woke up 7 minutes ago. We're doing our coffee stream, Kevin. Good morning. How you doing? Let's see. So live 1. Yeah, that's fine. Live 2. Now we just got to add the filter, chroma key for the green screen. Boom. That's how we do it. There we go. So we just brewed up some coffee, Kevin. Help, I feel lost. Quickly, go to the kitchen. There's something called coffee. I need you to go put the coffee in the machine and brew it. Or your Keurig. Go put the pod in the machine, start it up, and press go. And then Alkaline water is ready. Wine next stream. Alright, let's pop open these cookie butter sandwich cookies. Dang. Here's what it looks like. Okay, that looks like mold, but that's the green screen. Oh, bro, that doesn't look right. Bro. Come on, this chroma filter, bro, is like doing me dirty. Anyways, that's not mold, that's just the green screen, bro. Man, you're not down. You're not down. You're not down. Man. I'm actually gonna go to Trader Joe's and get those later, dude. Trader Joe's should pay me for being a little Trader Joe's influencer. Moldy cookies, they look gross. Bro. Maybe I'll have to do the different camera. Dude, that chroma key filter, bro. For the green screen, doing me dirty. There. There we go, if it can focus. Come on, focus, boy. There. It's the Trader Joe's cookie butter in between these two cookies. I'll send you a proof, send you a pic as proof later. Yeah, do it. Post it in the Discord. You gotta prove to all of us. Post it under the food and drink section. You gotta prove it. Or pick or it didn't happen. That looks better. Carlton says it tastes like metal. I should have been paid for all this stuff I've been posting. That didn't happen. Morning, Carlton. How you doing, man? Oh, actually, that goes really well together. That cookie and the coffee. Have you guys ever noticed that when you drink coffee with certain foods, it complements it, or like totally doesn't complement it? It's kind of like with wine. You know, like how in wine they have like wine pairings. So the same thing with coffee, right? You can pair stuff and it tastes excellent with coffee. You can also pair stuff and it'll taste gross with coffee. So I remember years ago, like when I used to love eating like the clementines with the halos. What are they called? Cuties or halos? There was like two different versions, right? Dude, I used to eat that while having my coffee in the morning, and it literally made the coffee in my mouth taste like I was like eating like buffalo wings. It was gross. The combination of like those little clementine like cuties and drinking the coffee seriously tasted like buffalo sauce. It was the grossest thing. Bro, I'm tired. Got up at 10, went to bed around 10. Dude, that's like a 12-hour sleep, man. You must have been tired. Do you ever add any creamer flavors? I mostly drink black. The only time I'll have it with milk or like a flavor is when I'm like having like a milk and espresso drink at like a coffee shop. So like a vanilla latte or a mocha, something like that. Iced caramel macchiato, dude. At Pete's, oh my gosh! If you guys want some of the, there's 2 drinks at Pete's Coffee. I'm gonna say this to you guys right now. You guys already know this. For those who know I've worked at Pete's. That's the place I started. Then I got into the specialty coffee industry. Pete's, I didn't know how good Pete's was. So like growing up, it was Starbucks or it's nothing. I don't care about Coffee Bean, Tea Leaf. I don't care about Pete's. To me, those just seemed like ripoffs, imposters, trying to be like Starbucks. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's actually not the truth. There's 2 things I want to say about Pete's. Pete's was actually before Starbucks. You know what's funny? I used to get Coffee Bean and Pete's mixed up because it was like, who are you? You're nothing. I don't care. You're Pete's. You're Coffee Bean. Whatever. Yeah, I just didn't care to get them right. But Pete's was actually before Starbucks. Alfred Pete started in Berkeley in the 60s. But guess what? Guess who worked for him for like the first 4 years as an apprenticeship? The dude that started Starbucks. And get this. After he apprenticed at Alfred Pete's coffee shop, he went and opened his first Starbucks. But do you know what happened like the first 2 years after he opened Starbucks? Guess where he was getting his coffee from? Pete's was roasting the coffee for Starbucks like the first 2 years, and then they separated. Pete's went. The reason why you don't see as many Pete's as you do Starbucks is 2 things. Starbucks went the quantity route. Pete's went the quality route. Here's my best explanation. Pete's is like In-N-Out. Starbucks is like McDonald's. They both do the same thing, just one is attention to detail and quality versus one is just mass production. So Pete's you can get everything you get at Starbucks, even like a frappuccino. You can't get it's a frappuccino, and what it is, it's a blended drink, but they don't call it a frappuccino at Pete's. They call it, like, when I was there, it was a Javiva. They might have changed the name, but everything you can get at Starbucks, you can get at Pete's. Anything from coffee, tea, ice drinks, blended drinks. Everything Pete's does, it's high quality. So if you want to get like a mocha frap version at Pete's, you can get that. But anyways, there's 2 drinks at Pete's that are amazing. It's the iced caramel macchiato. That's the best iced drink they got. Oh, the first best. Second best is the black tie, dude. Kevin, you know all about this. You know all about the black tie. The iced caramel macchiato. Basically, you get the demi-toss of like where the espresso like comes in. The demi-toss is like the glass that the espresso falls into, right? The demi-toss. So for a caramel macchiato, you put a pump of caramel sauce in the demi-toss, 2 pumps of vanilla syrup. Press go. The shot of espresso falls into the demi-toss, the hot espresso, so it begins to mix in the demi-toss. When 30 seconds later, when the shot's done pulling, you get your you get your cup. You put the milk in. No, I'm sorry. You put the steamed foam in. So technically, with Pete's, with their ice drinks, they steam their milk to make foam, and then they take it. This is for ice drinks, right? They steam their milk like they would normally like a hot drink, but they let it sit for a second, and the foam and the milk separates. They take a spoon. They grab the foam off the top because the foam is cool. The hot milk is hot, and they put the foam at the bottom of the cup. They throw the ice in. You take the shot with the caramel and the vanilla, and you take your milk jug, and you pour it together at the same time. And you cross the streams like Ghostbusters. In Ghostbusters, you're not supposed to cross the streams. In Pete's, you're supposed to cross the streams when you're adding like espresso and milk together, right? It helps incorporate, so you don't have to sit there with a spoon, right? A lot of specialty places, they're sitting there with a spoon. I'm like, bro, if you would just like get good at pouring the espresso and the milk at the same time, you wouldn't need to sit there with a spoon like you're making a cocktail at a bar. It would all mix. Pete's does it. Pete's pumps out drinks like that, and it all incorporates. And then at the top, when you're done, you go. Here was the thing, because Pete's was all about theater. Theater. Not only was theater a word, but it was an acronym. So one of the elements of theater is like presentation. So at Pete's, they don't put lids on top of the cups, just like specialty places. They don't do latte art at Pete's. You can get certified to do latte art, but when they put the foam on top, it's like a dollop, but it like looks good, right? Anyways, so what you do is you say, I got one caramel macchiato, iced caramel macchiato, or large, medium at the bar, and you set it on the bar, right? You set it down, and as they're walking up, you're finishing up, you take the caramel, the sauce, you drizzle it, and you go, here's your drink. That's the part of the presentation. It's like a combination of like, as you're saying, all right, got a iced caramel macchiato at the bar. They're walking up and they're seeing you visually finish the drink. That was Allie's go-to drink. I would get it for her every time I got off. That was like an amazing drink. So, yes, as much as I'm like a purity snob, like a wine drinker when it comes to coffee black. Oh, I'm getting plum and grape and stone fruit and notes of like roses, right? I can also do like, just give me a caramel frap, give me a caramel macchiato, give me a mocha. All right, let me catch up on chat. I was doing my caramel macchiato TED talk. Nathan Esther says I had flavored creamer sometimes. Zach, I have to get a flavored coffee at Starbucks. Their black coffee is so gross, but Pete's is bomb. Yes, it is. So it's like crabs versus plankton. There's no Pete's here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it may just be West Coast thing. Yes. Okay, I'm effing liar. There is a Pete's further in the city. Yeah, I was gonna say I believe they are across the U.S., but like I said, they're like in and out, bro. For every 20 Starbucks you have, it could be higher. It could be so like, you know, here in the South Bay, Kevin. How many Starbucks would you say are in between each Pete's, right? So you got the Pete's in Redondo, right? Oh, next to W's China Bistro. You got the Pete's in Rolling Hills Plaza. The next Pete's is Manhattan Beach, right? There's like one in every city. I think that's what they try to do, is one in every city. And then the next one is El Segundo. So in between each of those Pete's is probably like closer to 5 or 10 Starbucks. As you get out into probably like less populated areas, it's probably anywhere from like 30, 40, 50 Starbucks per Pete's. 100 Starbucks per Pete's, you know? That was like that, you know, because if you pull up Pete's here, you get a whole list. If you like go to like, we were in like Massachusetts on vacation to see Allie's Nana. I think I tried pulling up Pete's or something like that. There was barely any. Well, I mean, it did populate a list, but it was like 50 miles apart from each other. So, yeah, with that being said, that's like the best analogy is like the Pete's, the Starbucks is like the In-N-Out versus McDonald's. How many McDonald's per In-N-Out? You get the point. Almost there. Too many, exactly. But yeah, Pete's is funny. So before the third wave of coffee, which is kind of like what we're in, despite what you might hear, which you guys probably won't hear because you're not like tuned into the coffee like culture and community. Some people say there's a fourth wave. It's not. I still think we're in the third wave. I think we've progressed in the third wave of coffee, but we haven't hit. There's nothing like that's happened where we've like gone into the next wave. Like we haven't like hit a ceiling and broke through to like a new like floor. We've just like been gradually going up, you know. It's like the same way when you do updates. It's like the difference between like you know, Mac OS Ventura versus whatever else, you know, like you know, it's like each big update there's huge changes, but like you can have like small updates in between. That's what's been happening in the third wave, is that we've been making small updates from like, you know, when the third wave first came around, and where we're at currently in the third wave is a lot farther than we were when we first began, but it's not enough to say like, no, this is a new thing. We're not in the fourth wave. But anyways, with that being said, you know, third wave is like the craft coffee, right? The hipster coffee. Before third wave, do you know Pete's was recognized as craft coffee? And their whole thing was the last craft coffee place. But it was kind of funny because when I was at Pete's, I was like, you know, I was into specialty coffee, but I was still working at Pete's because there was no specialty coffee shops to work at. So I kind of knew, like, working here was like, well, no, there's places like way higher tier than you guys. You know, you guys are like stuck in your own like ecosystem in your bubble. Like, you do know that there's like way higher end coffee that exists than you guys, right? I mean, I wasn't like that verbally, but like I just like knew. I was like, I'd smile, go, yeah, because it's like, yeah, their whole thing is the last craft coffee. But I would say out of the second wave coffee, right? And in that tier of second wave coffee, you've got your Starbucks, you got your Pete's, you've got your Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, you have Dunkin' Donuts, Seattle Coffee, what, you know, all those like name brands that are like chain, right? That's all in that's all second wave, right? Bro, I have like 15 Starbucks in less than a 5-mile radius from where I live. James Coffee in San Diego, dude. James Coffee in San Diego is like probably, it's one of my top favorite places to get like, not to get coffee in the sense of like, oh, I'm always there getting coffee, but I've been there a couple of times, and when I went there and got a pour over or some drinks there, it was like amazing, dude. But yeah, the what's his face from Angels and Airwaves, right? Carlton, you know who it was. The guy that started James Coffee is also the dude from Angels and Airwaves. Which guy was it? Dunkin' is gross. You know what's funny? I've never really had Dunkin' coffee. I think I might have had like a Dunkin' coffee like K-cup. But like I would argue that like K-cups are not like a true representation of like any coffee place, even like Starbucks or Pete's. But so Zach, going back to a comment you said, so do you know why when you get coffee black at a place like Starbucks, it's like insufferable to drink? Or as you said, gross? Do you know why it tastes gross? And this isn't like subjective, this is just objective. But you know, so in wine and coffee, there's two things. There's objective and subjective. They both go hand in hand. And here's how it works. So with wine, right? You can get $5 okay, so high-end wine, stuff that like costs like hundreds of dollars per bottle, close to the thousands, that is objectively good wine. What makes it good is from crop to glass, right? Every step of the way, the attention to detail, how the location, the soil, everything, right? Where it's grown at, who is like tending to the grapes, right, for the wine. Every step of the way can be done to the highest degree, the highest quality, right? So that's objective. It's objectively a good wine. Now here's where the subjective comes in. You could not enjoy good wine. To anybody, you could drink good wine and be like, this doesn't taste good, I don't like it. But then you go and have $5 Chuck, and you're like, this tastes good, I like it. But objectively, so you see what I'm saying? So objectively, $5 Chuck is like cheap crap, right? But subjectively, you can like it. And it works just like that in coffee. So again, objectively good wine, you might not like it, and I might not like it, and to us it might taste gross, but cheap wine might taste great. But objectively, and that's subjective in our preference, but objectively it's crappy wine. The same thing with coffee. You could have objectively good high-end coffee, and subjectively you might not like it. And that's true. And I can think of one person I know. Allie. Allie can't stand specialty coffee. It's because it tastes like tea, because there's all these flavors. Like I said, like in this bag of coffee, there's stuff like flavor notes of blueberry, magnolia, plum, juicy. Now, they don't add those things to the coffee. That's just the notes you get from just the crop in the soil. So she can't stand that. To her, it's gross. So to her, she wants her coffee just to taste like coffee. She doesn't want any extra notes. So to her, she likes stuff like Starbucks or Pete's coffee. She likes that coffee flavor. But you see, like, the coffee that comes from Pete's or Starbucks is objectively, like, not that good of coffee, but subjectively people like it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you can quantify all these things and determine what's a quality, and you can't be postmodernism. Oh, what's we don't really know what's good and what's bad. It's to person. It's like, no, you're gonna walk into Morton Steakhouse in Beverly Hills and be like, oh, that's just your opinion. That steak's not good. This steak I bought at the Dollar Tree is better. Bro, you gonna tell me that like you're gonna go tell off like Gordon Ramsay and all these people about like what is good food and bad food? Like, as a culture, we've determined what is bad and what is crappy. And so there's a reality that it's like, no, it's not some like ethereal. We don't really know what's good. It's all subjective. No, there's objective and subjective to it, right? You could choose to be like, I don't like Morton Steakhouse, but I like Black Angus or Outback. That's fine. Objectively, Morton's in Beverly Hills is high-end steak, right? But you might not like it. You go to Outback, it's like objectively it's crappy steak, but you might love it. Yeah, and so with Starbucks, right? One of the things that you hate, and this is what's really interesting about the coffee industry. Like second wave. So, do you know that most people hate coffee only from trying like crappy coffee? That's my guess. Yeah, it's burnt. That's burnt. But I gotta go, man. I'll catch you later. For sure, bro. Catch you later. And just to wrap it up with the it's the burnt. You see, Starbucks, they use lower quality beans, and they burn their coffee. They burn it by over roasting it. I mean, and what that could be, that's objective, right? Is it like, if you went into the specialty industry, they would define what Starbucks is as over roasting. Like they're overcooking the steak. They're going so well done, it's like you can't even taste the flavors of the steak anymore. It's like you're just tasting the burnt flavor from the char of the grill on your steak, right? So that's the same with coffee. Is that like, that's when if you were to drink like Starbucks coffee, you're like, why does it taste like burnt toast? Why does it taste like charcoal? Bro, because it literally is burnt. That coffee's not supposed to be drinking like that. Like, like I always thought that's how coffee was. Like, you're supposed to drink coffee and go, it's so good. But internally, you're like, this is so gross. And then you think like, oh, like, I guess this is what it is with coffee. You're just supposed to learn to like a terrible experience in your mouth. Dude, that is not it. But you see, like, everybody thinks that. So it's like, you drink Folgers or you drink like Starbucks Black, and you're like, oh my gosh, this tastes like burnt toast. It tastes like charcoal. How do you enjoy it? And everybody's like, yeah, dude, if you're into coffee, you just gotta learn it. You gotta learn to like it. No, you don't have to. You don't have to drink that stuff. It's like you're pretending. Yep, it's so good. That's why people don't like coffee, because most coffee they've been exposed to is like cheap burnt crap. And what I mean by cheap, because there's two layers to it, right? There's like the quality of the coffee and how they roast it. So coffee is a lot like wine. It's a crop, it's a cherry. And when you harvest coffee or wine, you're only supposed to pick the stuff that's ripe. Because if you pick the stuff that's unripe yet, right? It's not ripe enough. Like, that's gonna taste funky and sour, right? Right? Like, it's like the difference between like picking a lemon that's still green versus like when it's yellow, right? It goes for any fruit. So coffee cherries are just like that. Is that, what happens in places like Starbucks, again, this is where I'm explaining there's two layers to the coffee not being good, is that it starts at the farm. Like, Starbucks is more concerned about mass production than they are about quality. So what they're doing is that when they're harvesting the coffee, they're grabbing a lot of stuff like from like the coffee plant, that's ripe and unripe, because it's quicker. Because that's why like a lot of these like specialty coffee roasters, they operate on like a smaller level, where they build relationships with actual like individual farms. Because you can have quality control over a smaller operation. Starbucks, they have like plots of land that they just they use, and they're more concerned about just like pulling everything off. So it's in some place from Pete's or Coffee Bean Tea Leaf in Starbucks or even like Folgers. So when they're pulling the coffee off, right, they're pulling ripe, unripe stuff, and it's all being put together. Now here's the thing: when you go super dark with your coffee, you won't be able to taste the bad. You won't be able to taste the bad coffee in there, because when you go dark enough, right? When you go dark roast, you're no longer tasting the coffee. You're just tasting the flavor of like the roast, like the flavor you get from like burning something, right, on the toast. Like when you take a bite of a piece of burnt toast, what are you tasting first? You're really just tasting the burnt charcoaly stuff on the outer edge more than you are like the actual toast. So like that's the same thing with like a dark roasted coffee. Is at that point you're not really tasting what's inside the coffee because it's hidden by how overly roasted. Like it's all the flavors eliminated. You've burned off all the flavor. That's actually what it is. It's not that the flavor's still there and it's hidden. It's more of like you actually burned off all the coffee oils that hold flavor. So with that technique, you can hide low quality coffee, meaning like unripe stuff or just cheap stuff in general, right? Even if it's ripe and cheap, you can hide it with a darker roast. You know, so like that's the thing, is that's why those companies go dark. It's partially a 60s trend, right? Still, like why they roast dark. Oh, if you're like especially if you're into coffee, like you drink it dark. But also, it's a technique to sort of like conceal the cheap flavors. And so like when you like in specialty coffee, again going to like what they work with like individual farms, like specialty coffee roasters. The reason why they're on a small scale is because they can only work on a small scale. So their operation is they fly overseas and they develop relationships with farms, and they tell the farmers like, hey, here's what we're looking for. You know, like we desire like quality over quantity. So like when you're like going out and picking the coffee cherries, like, you know, we prefer like only picking the ripe ones. We don't care about like filling orders. We just want quality stuff. So with that being said, that's why a lot of like specialty roasters can only operate in a small level, because with that, it's like you're only gonna get like small crop from like those techniques. Interesting. What's going on, Baba Bowie? Is it Baba Booey? Baba Bowie? How you doing? Yeah, coffee's very interesting. I used to work in the coffee industry. This is where I learned all this stuff. I worked again. If you haven't been here in the chat, but I worked in like chain coffee, like Pete's Coffee, which is like a Starbucks, and then I got into specialty coffee. But like, you know, chain coffee, that's why it's like so hard to drink, is it's just over roasted cheap coffee. You know, it's really hard to drink black. The only coffee I drink is from a packet, so yeah. Okay, cool. Quick question: would you eat a medium rare steak? I would. I've never had rare, but I've eaten medium rare. So yeah, when you go to a steakhouse like Morton's in Beverly Hills, they like I'm pretty sure they don't cook steaks over like medium or medium well. You just you cook off all the flavor that's in the steak. Baba Booey, when you're saying you drink coffee from a packet, is it like instant coffee? Oh, which brings me to another point. Did you guys know there's specialty instant coffee? It actually exists. There's high-end instant coffee. I've gotten it before. It's been about a year since I've ordered some, because I buy coffee like this, grind it up so I can brew this. Yeah, instant coffee, Nescafe. Oh, I actually have Nescafe. It's actually in the kitchen. I'll show you. Check it out. Nescafe, instant. So the interesting thing is that like with coffee, is that I am not like a coffee snob up in an ivory tower. I can actually drink all coffee, instant coffee, Starbucks, you name it. I could drink it all. I prefer like the specialty coffee, like I was showing you here. This stuff right here from Blossom Coffee Roasters. It's from Ethiopia, right? You buy a whole bean. Look at the tasting notes: blueberry, magnolia, plum. You brew it in a vessel like this, right? I could do it all, but I also like I like to familiarize myself with like all kinds of coffee so that like I'm always on the top of my game and understand where people are coming from. I agree. Yeah, instant coffee, Nescafe. Hi, I just used. Hey, what's going on, Jamie? I just used instant coffee. Also, the last steakhouse I went to was in New York City. Nice. 3-in-1 is best, no debate. I just want one of those red official Nescafe mug cups. Time for the George Clooney commercials. I only drink Walmart's cheapest instant coffee all day long, no sugar. You prefer soy milk or cow's milk? I prefer cow's milk. I've drinking. It's funny, working in the coffee industry, you actually have to familiarize yourself with like all kinds of coffee. Like they actually make you they make you get familiar with the product. So like even if you don't drink soy milk or almond milk or oat milk, whatever it might be is the milk substitute, they make you get familiar with it, which makes sense, right? So then you understand. So like if you were to make a cappuccino with cow's milk and a cappuccino with like soy milk, it would taste like two different things, right? I mean, and that's obvious, but what I mean is that like, you know, a lot of times recipes are dialed in. So like espresso, right? A lot of times espresso is dialed in so you can taste it in the milk. A lot of times espresso isn't just dialed in on its own. It's like dialed in with knowing that how it's going to taste with milk. So when you have a cappuccino, you're like, oh wow, like the espresso tastes really good differently with milk. But you also drink it so you can familiarize yourself with, oh, here's how it tastes with soy milk, or here's how it tastes with almond milk. So yeah, I've like drinking a lot of that. You know, actually in terms of milk substitutes, I would say this. If you guys are able to and you're not allergic, I would go the route of oat milk. Oat milk tastes phenomenal compared to almond or soy. It's also the easiest to make at home. I mean, you can make like soy and like almond milk at home. It's just a lot harder. Oat milk, surprisingly, is one of those things where like if you had the time, you could make your own oat milk. It's really interesting. 70 cents a jar. Keep 10 jars in the cupboard. Nice. Soy milk, oat milk, almond. But if you get the cheapest, I don't think the cheapest has anything, many vitamins in it. So I always have to buy the next brand up. Hermosa. Nice, Nate. If you guys are curious, Nate is biking right now at the beach here in Los Angeles. He's just telling us where he's at now. So he's in Hermosa. Carlton, I know you're familiar with the region. You know, I didn't know they had Walmarts over in Europe, Jamie. Jimmy, you were saying you're from England, right? If I'm correct. I didn't know that Walmart expanded overseas. I mean, like I know like other big American brands have expanded, like, you know, McDonald's and Subway. I just wasn't aware that like stores like Walmart did. Oh, here's a question: has Target or Target, if you're fancy, has Target expanded to England? Plus one, I like oat milk more than the others, and used to make it all the time because you can basically just blend oatmeal and strain it. Yes. So Mason knows what I'm talking about. Yes. Um, my favorite, probably the only brand I think I'll like. So I've narrowed it down to my brands I like in terms of when it comes to like milk substitutes. Yeah, we call it ASDA. It was owned by Walmart, so it was a British arm of Walmart. Ah, okay, okay, I see. So in terms of like milk substitutes, here is. I'll try to show it to you. So here's my favorite almond milk. So if you guys can get your if you guys can get your hands on this, this is what we used to use in the specialty industry. Clefia Farms, uh, almond milk, barista blend. Now, the reason why they call it barista blend, because they make a non-barista blend, but there's just something they do differently with the milk so you can steam it. So just so you guys know, like, it's really hard to steam milk substitutes because of, like, the fat. I think the lack of fat, right? So, like, in the specialty industry, we were trained to do latte art with, like, milk, right? Like, make hearts, make rosettas, like roses, I guess you could say. All kinds of different designs. But, like, you can only do that with cow's milk. Um, Now, if you get like a milk substitutes act a lot like water. So when you pour it and you're trying to like control the stream to make the design, it acts like water. It just does what it wants, and so it's hard to do. So with these barista blends, if you've ever been curious, well, now you know. It's they do something to the milk, so when you steam it, it acts as like cow's milk when you like doing latte art. So this is my favorite almond milk. Um, Specific. Now, in terms of soy milk, let's see. This is my favorite soy. I don't drink much soy anymore because, you know, as studies have come out, soy is not really good for men, or too much soy. I'm sorry. Too much soy is not good for men. And so this is what I mean is it like, you know, if you're drinking soy milk, that's a lot of soy. So you can have soy in your diet, but this is why a lot of specialty coffee shop industries don't carry soy because they've like, you know, they're trying to stay on top of like, you know, what's acceptable in terms of like, you know, health and stuff like that, and you know, all kinds of stuff. The specialty coffee industry is kind of like, you know, they're on top of even a lot of like the social justice in terms of like the trends of like where things are going with health wise. So at Pete's, this is what we use for soy milk. This was the Pacific Foods Barista Soy. I like this. I thought it tasted great. And then for oat milk, it's funny. So in the I don't know in the United States, it was the first brand to kind of go. So the first brand to go big with oat milk was Oatly. Have you guys ever heard of them? I don't know if you can get them overseas or what, but Oatly became the industry standard a few years ago for oat milk. Every specialty coffee shop was carrying Oatly. That's the brand. Um, and so to them, that's like the gold standard is Oatly. There's a lot of other companies out there, but people say that's like the gold standard for oat milk. On to catch up on chat. I think it has just been the last year or two been bought by another company, but is our Walmart regardless. Let's see, let me pull this up. Inside the new $21 million, pulling up the link posted. ASDA or Oz. You guys pronounce it? Is it an acronym, or do you guys pronounce it as a word like OZDA, or you say ASDA? Well, it looks like the A is capital, so I'm guessing you pronounce it OZDA. In Nottinghamshire. Okay, so that's what it looks like inside. So this is what it looks like inside of an English store. Very cool. I'm curious how much of the same brands we carry. I read that it's high in estrogen. I think so. Oh yeah, we have Oatly. It's basically one of the top brands here, and Alpro Soya, but Alpro is very expensive. One word, Asta. Okay. Well, we have a lot, so most towns have one now. But that's just a decent article I found for a new one, just to show you. Nice. Yeah. Thanks for posting it. Thanks for showing. Let's see. Let's move on to the next phase of the stream. So now that we've had our coffee, talked about coffee, this is the portion of the stream I like to watch some of like the coffee videos while I'm having coffee. Let's see. Surfactants and milk foam. That looks like some scholarly level stuff. Let's just check it out. Oh, hold on, let's see here.
Friends would walk up to me and just be like, "What the f is in your mug?" And I would just tell them.
Okay, here we go. Let's see. I like watching the video about how pistachios are made while I eat pistachios. There you go. So you understand the concept. Let's check this out.
In this video, Alexandra demonstrates an approach to brewing her jezve that would successfully pass the barista baseline test for jezve. During a practical certification event, a barista hustle coach will ask a barista to explain their recipe before they start brewing their coffees.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm going to prepare a chesve with a brew ratio of 1 to 8. So I will add 10 grams of coffee to 80 grams of water.
I have this same kettle, except the stovetop version. Oh, you can't even see it. Never mind. Too hard to show you.
I am starting with water that has been preheated to 60 degrees Celsius. The grinds I'm using are just a little finer than espresso grinds.
After adding her coffee to the water, Alexandra stirs the coffee 20 times.
I'm using a washed Ethiopian coffee from the Suke Kyoto processing station, roasted lightly for filter brewing.
Alex carefully monitors the temperature of the brew throughout the brewing process, ensuring the tip of the probe doesn't touch the very bottom of the jezve.
I'm aiming for a final temperature of 92 degrees.
After the temperature reaches 92 degrees, she immediately removes the brewing from the flame and turns off the gas supply. Alexandra then pours out the entire contents of the jezve slurry into a cup.
Everything.
The BH coach will check to ensure the ragway stretches across the surface of the jezve. If there is a break in the surface of the foam, traditionally this is considered undesirable. Though you will find light roasted coffees produce a little less foam. The same is true of jezveleur that have been removed from the flame at a lower temperature. Choosing a narrower cup can easily overcome this issue. In order to assess the consistency of a barista's brewing, we require baristas to brew 2 jezve to pass the baseline test. Start learning with a BH Unlimited subscription and challenge yourself with 15.
So I've actually been quite interested in their courses, their certificates. So you can like do all this training they're talking about. They actually offer like even like deals like business rates. So like so what's really big in the coffee industry and the specialty coffee industry is the training, right? Because that's what dictates the quality of like the product produced at the store that you're working at. And so there's a lot of places that are independent that don't really have like legit training, and it could just be the owner who knows a lot, but maybe doesn't know like everything that he should be training baristas to know, or might not even really know correctly what he was taught. Like he could be, training misinformation about like how coffee is, and perpetuating old wives' tales or myths about like coffee preparation and knowledge. So you know, there's a lot of places like that offer training that's built into their wholesale program. So like so I worked for a wholesale, or they call it a multi roaster coffee shop, which basically is, it's a coffee shop, but you don't roast your own beans. What you do is you sign up like wholesale with various roasters, and you buy from them, and they send you the beans. They send you the recipes of like, here's how the drip should be, basically how much coffee per water when you're brewing a batch of filtered coffee, and then here's a recipe of each espresso shot should be this many grams of coffee to this many milliliters of water, brewed at 28 seconds, right? So a lot of these companies though also have built-in training. Well, they'll either send somebody out, or if it's local enough, they'll come to you, like they'll drive to you, or you can go to them. So Stumptown was one of those one of the roasters we had when I first worked at the coffee shop I was at, and they have a downtown LA roasting / training facility, which is also a coffee shop. It's all three. So if you were in the like Los Angeles County, you could drive there and you would train. And so we trained everything from all sorts of coffee knowledge and techniques and different brew methods, and that's what I was talking about earlier in the stream about like, where I learned about when you're tasting coffee is that, or anything in general, whether it be food or drink, as things are further from your body temperature, meaning like really hot or really cold, it's hard to pick up on those flavors. So that's why as things get room temp, it sort of reveals whether the product is good or not, because it could be like the crappiness of the product can be hidden by extreme ice or hot temperatures. So a lot of coffee shops offer training programs like built into their wholesale system. Then there's places like Barista Hustle where maybe you don't have the ability to be trained by one of your wholesale accounts. So then like you work with Barista Hustle, which is what this YouTube page is. Barista Hustle is like known as like the brainiacs, the whizzes of the coffee industry, the scholars. So they offer training courses, and you can individually sign up for these and do their courses, or you can have like company rates, and it's basically like access for all your employees to be trained, whatever. Manhattan. All right, Nate's at Manhattan, folks. Thanks for the update. Let's see, what else do we got? James Hoffman. Sounds of the V60. That is a ASMR video. Let's see. Bad coffee in a cafe. What should you do? Okay, interesting.
This shot of espresso was not brewed in a cafe.
Dang, I didn't know bad coffee could do that.
Today we're going to talk about how to complain in a coffee shop. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the scenario that you sometimes find yourself in, where you get served a cup of coffee that you think is bad, and you ask yourself the question, should I say something? Now, the fact that this video exists probably freaks out a few cafe owners, a few baristas. Two things to reassure them. I would say that 95% of the time, honestly, don't say something.
Be afraid, baristas. Be afraid, cafe owners. Because after this video, I'm coming to your shop and I'm going to tear it down.
Also say, throughout this whole thing, probably over and over, be a good human. That's really important. So the way this is going to work is we're going to address a couple of different kind of problem cups of coffee, and then go through the kind of various scenarios you might find yourself in to help you understand what kind of a decision you should make. So let's start with, you are served a cup of bad tasting coffee. And right from the start, we've got to get into, well, what is bad to you? because that's really going to help you assess the situation that you're in. Because there's 3 scenarios in which you could be served a disappointing or unpleasant cup of coffee. Scenario 1. It's a really good coffee shop, but they're having an off day, an off moment with this one particular drink. Scenario 2.
Oops, sorry.
You could be in a really good coffee shop who just serve a totally different style of espresso than you enjoy. Or scenario 3, the cafe just isn't very good at making coffee. Start to finish, they're not skilled, they're not passionate, it's just not a good cafe. Those are our 3 scenarios, and we're going to sort of treat each one a little bit differently. So let's go for scenario number 1. So scenario 1, the coffee shop is having an off day. Your one espresso, your one filter coffee has somehow gone a little bit sideways and tastes bad. This is the scenario in which you should say something. Now, what's important here is that you know the coffee shop can make good coffee because you might be a regular and you've drunk plenty of coffee there. Right? You know that you and the cafe, you and the baristas have a kind of shared idea of what good coffee tastes like. And in this situation, you can go and say something, and I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but I would definitely open with, hey, the coffee here is usually really great. I really like the espresso, but this one shot just tastes a little funny. And you can tell them a little bit about how it tastes funny, but you just say, I just wanted to let you know because it's just not quite right today. And in that situation, I think it diffuses a lot of tension. The barista knows that you like what they do most of the time, and you've got a shared idea of what good is. I think any cafe that cares about its coffee would want...
So we were basically trained to we were trained for 2 things. So basically we were trained to always dial in your coffee and always be checking it. Always dial it in, always be checking it. So what does that mean? So when I would go open the coffee shop in the mornings, you have to dial in the espresso. You can't just save the settings from last night and then just blindly go in. You've got to get there, you've got to turn on all the machines, and you've got to sit there and you've got to try the coffee and look at the parameters, right? Get this. So that is one thing you can quantify or actually dial in, right? There's no such thing as if it's dialed in, it's going to taste gross, right? If it's dialed in, it will not taste gross. I'm just telling you that right now. Because if you follow the recipe that the roaster gave you, you've been tasting the shots, and you've been, for the whole big kilo bagger they send you, right? And you've been tasting it, and, you've been on the coffee for, a week or so, going through that whole bag for espresso. If you are tasting it, and it's tasting like the coffee shop should say it, and you have all the parameter sets, so you could check all those things. How many grams of coffee you're using when you're putting in the portafilter, how many seconds you're brewing, right? If you follow those things, there's no magical thing that's going to make the coffee taste off. Whose fault is in that when it tastes off is most likely the barista has not either dialed in the coffee that day, or the parameters have changed throughout the day. So what I mean is this, is that throughout the day, the parameters, not the parameters change, but the coffee can change. Meaning that as if you're in the hopper where you put all the beans in, as the hopper gets lower, it changes how the coffee is interacting with the burrs. So the coffee could end up being produced a little coarse. Even though you haven't adjusted the dial to make it coarse, there's so many variables that can change the coffee. But that's why every hour, every 30 minutes, you should be tasting your espresso. You don't have to drink it, but you can take a sip and then spit it out. But a good barista should always be checking and tasting your product. That's what you see in Gordon Ramsay when he first when he rails all these chefs. He's like, are you even tasting your product? That's one of the things in coffee, is that there's no way it should even get to a conversation with a customer saying it just tastes off today. Because if you've dialed it in and you've been watching it, you've been watching the shot time, you've been tasting every 30 minutes to an hour, seeing if the shot's okay, right? There should be no reason that the coffee shot gets off by the time it gets to that customer. Because from 30 minutes to 30 minutes, there's not enough that could change to where it's a drastic change. You get what I'm saying? Because you're thinking, well, what about in that 30 to 30 minute or an hour to an hour window, something changes? There's not based on how many shots you can pull in an hour and, things can change. There's not enough that can happen that would be that, at 48 minutes, the coffee totally changed. It doesn't work like that. And the things that can change, I talked about, one is how much coffee is in the hopper, right? That affects, as it gets lower, it affects the grind. So like it might come out coarser as there's less coffee in it, because the more coffee there is in it, there's more like coffee pressing down, like forcing it into the burrs as they're spinning, right? So the lighter it gets, it's just like it's not being forced down, so it's not the same consistent grind as it was when it's full. Also, the temperature in the room changes. It would happen too. When even at Pete's, they recognized it. As in the morning, around like 9 o'clock or so, as the sun, or at a certain angle in the day, their coffee shots would change. The shots would start pulling faster all of a sudden. So even like the sun, and that probably has to do with something like heating up the room, but even the angle of the sun would change the parameters or the variables on the espresso shot. So like things change because of one, like, you know, how much coffee's in like the hopper, the temperature of the room, and the position of like the sun beating down on like the room, stuff like that. There's some other stuff, but that stuff can change how the shot is. But if you're always checking the shot 30 minutes to an hour, you're not going to get to a place where the shot's going to be so off. And so I would say that is avoidable. I would almost argue it's 99% avoidable. There's like that 1% that like something freak could happen, but like I would say it's like, you know, it's very unlikely that the coffee just tastes off because it's just a magical accident. It's something that you should always be dialing in, right? Always tasting, always making sure, like, you know, the shot time, right? If a shot's pulled too long or a shot is too short, that can change the taste of espresso. That can change the whole flavor of the shot. Like if a shot's supposed to be 28 seconds and the shot pulled at 26 or 25 seconds, I wouldn't serve that. It's really interesting, but being off by like 2 to 3 seconds can change the shot. See, when you dial it in, it hitting that 28 seconds every single time should last. That should last for more than an hour without you having to adjust the grind size. So with that being said, yeah, it's like, that's how critical and nuanced it is and complex it is that like with espresso shots, right, like he's talking about, it'll taste off when it's off by a second or two, but that's why you're always watching your shot time, right? Like on like the machines we had at Fanny's, you could see the shot time. How long did it take the shot to pull? And every time, every drink, you look at the shot and you're just like always visually looking. When you start to see a trend that maybe it's like the shot time starting to get a second or two lower than it should be, you immediately go to the grinder and you adjust it. These people he's talking about, I guarantee you, it's just like baristas who are not trained to be like, either they don't care or like they didn't have a training session where like they were told like, hey, you've always got to be tasting it and dialing it in. So I would say this, 99% that's avoidable. Now the second part is, if the shot is off, as you're training a coffee shop, you're more than happy to pull you another shot. It was like that at Pete's, it was like that at Fanny's. We're more than happy to remake your drink. You know why? So at Pete's determined that their cost, so to break even, before you even start losing money, you would have to remake the drink 6 to 7 times. I forgot what in the training orientation. They were saying that basically the point was, don't worry, you can remake the drink multiple times. If it gets to that point where you're like worried that like maybe the customer's trying to scam you or something, it's like, dude, you can remake the drink 6 to 7 times before you even break even with the cost, before you even making it at cost. So with that being said, so there's two things. So there's one is cost, right? It's like you'd have to make it like 6 or 7 times to even get close to the cost, right? But number two, it's integrity. So it's like if I was in a coffee shop and as an owner, barista, you know, it's like if it didn't turn out right, my thought wasn't, oh, dude, you're not getting your money back or you're not going to scam me. It was, that didn't taste right? Dude, no way. Like, that's not right. There, let me remake it for you. Dude. I want you to enjoy this. So, two things to that. Dialing in it it's pretty much avoidable to ever get a shot to be off. But if it is off, you should have no problem in remaking that customer's drink.
The opportunity to fix their mistake and make you another drink. So let's talk about scenario number 2. which I think is actually a really common scenario out there in the world. And that's the situation where the style of coffee served by a coffee shop just doesn't sort of line up with the style of coffee that you prefer to drink. I think specialty coffee had a lot of this issue, and it leads to one of the most awkward exchanges that you can have, in that you'll go up and you'll say, excuse me, my espresso is just really sour, let's say. You like darker roast, they're serving a lighter roast. You think the espresso tastes sour. The barista's going to hear under extracted, oh, I messed the shot up. They're going to make the shot again, and chances are serve you exactly the same drink. Sometimes it's difficult to say a coffee is objectively bad. I guess it can be done if you're kind of nerdy enough, but most of the time it's simply really not to your tastes, which is a different thing. Now, in this situation, you could maybe give that cafe one more go if you really want to like the coffee from that place, but chances are that is what they do, that's the style that they serve, and that one drink is just a cost of living, a cost of experimentation, a cost of trying new places. Just jump online, do a little search, find a different place to check out the next time. Speaking of which, that brings me very neatly to a short ad from this video's sponsor, which is Surfshark. Now, in the past, connecting to public Wi-Fi and, say, a cafe, making coffee, because this one also actually pops up a lot online.
He makes enough from... I don't need to watch that full ad.
Because if you're
he makes enough from his coffee shop and his own YouTube channel that me skipping his ad is not going to affect him at all.
Home, then you begin to see the way that coffee shops make coffee differently. You begin to sort of see the shots running fast and not in a kind of turbo shot way. You begin to see dirty portafilters or incorrectly set grinders or bad tamping technique, and you think, with a little help, maybe they could be good. Because for many people, this might be the only independent coffee shop in their town, in their area that's nearby. They want to like it, they want to spend time there because they like the cafe, but the coffee just sucks. And the question is, how do I broach this?
I just remembered something. Nate, you asked me about a coffee shop. What about the Boy and the Bear? Yeah, I think they're fine. I'm not the biggest fan of the Boy and the Bear, but I think they're fine. When I was working at Fanny's, I mean, I don't want to sound like... I don't want to brag, but it's the truth, and we're on the topic, is that I was asked to work there, but I was already working too much at Fanny's at the time. I was working like 5 days a week, and, you know, my days off were pretty precious to me, because in an environment like that, it's like... you need your rest, because you're on, dude, when you work in a physical job like a coffee shop, and when you're on your like feet all like for 6 hours, dude, a 4 to 6 hour shift at a coffee shop is more physically tiring than a 9-hour shift like at like as a manager at the automotive repair shop. So like, and you know, like it took a toll on my body, like health wise. It's really it's hard working places like this. So to me it was like, no, I didn't need the extra money, but I was offered a job by the owner of Boy and the Bear, like, hey, would you be interested in working here? You know, I said, you know what, thanks for the offer, but I got too many, I'm working enough at Fanny's, and, you know, I don't think I don't have the time, but, you know, like, something to that extent. But yeah, I was offered to work at Boy and the Bear. He came to me, because he knew I worked at Fanny's, and the owner of Boy and the Bear would come into Fanny's quite often, so he knew who I was. So that's my little thing I can give you to Boy and the Bear. I think Boy and the Bear is fine.
The subject. How do I say to the baristas, hey, can I give you a few tips and tricks on pulling espresso? Can I help you make me better coffee? And the truth of the situation is you can't. You cannot help that business, because the problem that you really need to solve is so much deeper than just the surface level of the coffee doesn't taste very good. I wish that somehow there was another way, but this is the truth of it. You simply cannot, from the outside, push in good coffee.
Well, I was gonna say, if you as a customer ever walked up and tried to tell a customer how to make a better food, that's like walking to the back of a kitchen at a restaurant, even if it's bad, and then trying to tell the chef how to make it better. Like, what? That's like unacceptable on so many levels, and it just wouldn't work.
Even if you knew the owner, I think chances are that it would be very difficult to fundamentally change the coffee that coffee shop serves. And that's not the best news, but if you like the space, just go and drink something else. Enjoy being in a space that isn't home or isn't work, and just hang out, have a tea, a soft drink, a piece of cake, but maybe not coffee. So in that situation, unless it is truly, truly vile and you want your money back, which will ultimately end your relationship with that coffee shop, then I probably wouldn't say anything and I would just drink something else the next time that I was in. This is kind of it. I'll go back to the beginning and say, what you want is good coffee. You have to understand, is it even available where I am? And if it is, then it's worth saying something. And if it's not, then it really, really isn't. Now, there's one more situation that will kind of come up, which is you are actively asked for your feedback while you're having coffee there. And I would say the same rules still apply in that I wouldn't really say something most of the time. But if it was truly, truly bad, then yes, I might give some very broad kind of feedback and be like, I didn't really enjoy the coffee that much. It wasn't really to my tastes. I would not get into trying to diagnose why or be like, this, it was under extracted or your machine needs a bit of cleaning. Stay away from that, because really it's not going to improve your day. It's not going to improve their day. If you're giving them information that they can't meaningfully act on, it's a little bit of a waste of your time and theirs too. And it just leads to a little bit more awkwardness, which is something I would like to avoid. Now let's talk about the other big issue that coffee shops have or customers have, and that's temperature. Now, this one I don't think is too complicated. We're going to split drinks in half, and we'll have black coffee drinks and milk or dairy alternative drinks. If you have an under temperature black coffee drink, please let them know. Chances are it's going to be like a batch brew. It's the bottom of the batch. It's sat around too long. It's just old. You should absolutely send that back. And it's easier to say it's just a bit cold than, it's a bit oxidized and gross. So just go with that. Just say, this coffee is a little bit cold. Could I get a fresh one, please? No one should feel bad about that or stressed about that. Now, dairy drinks are a little bit different because milk, particularly dairy milk, has this kind of hard stop at 70 degrees Celsius. If you heat it past that point, then you change its texture and you notably change its flavor. It tastes kind of cooked, and it simply doesn't go that well with coffee. For that reason, most coffee shops don't really want to heat the milk past 65 degrees Celsius, and once that's poured in the cup and delivered to your table, it's still hot to drink and enjoy straight away, but it's not really hot. And if you are distracted, if you're having a conversation with someone, doing your work, 5 minutes could pass by, and in that case, yes, that coffee will taste disappointingly cool. The problem here is that that's your fault. And if you complain, you're asking them to fix your mistake. Look, there are many, many coffee shops in the world who just want you to leave happy. It's important. It's kind of the function of a coffee shop is to make you a little bit happier. And so if you're really nice about it, if you have a relationship with the coffee shop,
I understand where you're coming from. My last week with my plumber friend before I got laid off was working under a house.
But the ones that throw a tantrum about it are not the ones that
I've
necessarily
done before, but it was almost dehydrated after such an intimidating assignment.
Be a good human. Understand that you're asking for their generosity. It's your mistake that we're trying to fix here. That isn't to say that sometimes drinks don't go out at the right temperature. Mistakes do happen. And I think if it is just straight cold going out or very lukewarm the minute you get it, it's okay to say something and ask for it to be remade if you want to linger over and enjoy it. But just don't let it sit around. It's good, fresh, delicious coffee.
It really affected my physical ability for the remainder of the week, and the owners of the house complained about it. It was a really bad week. Sorry to hear that, man.
Framework for having those occasional slightly awkward conversations.
This is why I'm looking for administrative jobs now, right?
They want to be happy. The cafe is happy and the customer is happy. But now I want to hear from you. Down in the comments below, let me know which scenario we maybe missed out on. Do you have a question about how you might give a little bit of feedback? Leave it down in the comments below, and as a community, maybe we can give you some guidance or some answers and learn a little. But for now,
I think so instead of touching base on the video as it plays, or instead of like putting my input, I kind of want to try to make the video play all the way through and then try to go back if I can do that.
Situation where the style of coffee served by a coffee shop just doesn't sort of line up with the style of coffee that you prefer to drink. I think specialty coffee had a lot of this issue, and it leads to one of the most awkward exchanges that you can have, in that you'll go up and you'll say, "Excuse me, my espresso is just really sour," let's say.
Yeah, so that was, it's not that awkward. It's like I knew how to handle those conversations, but there's a lot of people who do come to your coffee shop. Like, so for example, there's a lot of people who like will try like a high-rated coffee shop. And a lot of times, like, high-rated coffee shops don't always mean, like, specialty. You could have a mom and pop that has, like, 5 stars. So there's a lot of people that come in the area and they're on vacation. They just look for a high-rated coffee shop. So it could be some mom and pop shop that's not serving specialty coffee, but it's got 5 stars. So these people who go out searching for coffee shops for, like, the 5-star rating, are going to be going to coffee shops all over the spectrum. So when they treat the specialty coffee shop the same way as like every other shop, they'll come in, they'll taste a shot of espresso or drink and go, it tastes kind of sour. Well, hold on. Pull something up. Okay. Whoops. The compass. Okay. So, this is the... So, when they taste sour. So, just so you know, sour is not a descriptor of coffee that's done right. So, coffee's acidic. So, coffee will taste more acidic, right? And lighter roast, but but you shouldn't be using sour as like a note to like, for example, on a bag like this, you will never see sour. Sour is not a desirable flavor. It's something if it's like under extracted. So like when people say my shot is a little sour, that's a bad thing. But here's the thing though, is that you have a lot of people who are coffee drinkers, but they haven't dialed in their palate or understanding of tasting notes. So what's happening is they're tasting acidic coffee, but instead of like appropriately like describing what they're having a trouble describing what they're experiencing. So the perception is that it's sour. Now, this is assuming that the shot is pulled correctly and they don't like how acidic it is because it's light roasted coffee. So sour is an undesirable flavor, but like generally light roasted coffee is acidic. So there was a lot of times in exchanges where they go, the coffee is sour. So then you re-pull the shot and you go, okay, well, I'm looking at my parameters. That shot was pulled within the recipe and the parameters it's supposed to be at. So, maybe it was a fluke. You pulled again and they still don't like it. And they go, it's tasting sour. Because what I'm thinking is, right, based off these, the espresso compass, right? So, sour, if you could see here, sour is, so the green is where you want to be. So, you have here watery, powdery, dry. So under extracted is overwhelmingly sour, intense, sour, salty. Over extracted is, so if it's in the red, you've got to lower your extraction. And then if it's in the yellow, you got to increase your extraction to get to the green. But sour is not a desirable flavor. It's not a desirable, it's not like you wouldn't say like a good coffee is sour, right? So if that makes sense, like if someone's like it's sour, I'm thinking like they're using it in terms to describe something it's bad, like oh, I need to pull a shot. But again, if I'm looking at the parameters and all the shots and stuff like that, and I'm like, there's no way it's like sour, like everything's right, and I'm tasting it, it's fine. What they don't like is they don't like how acidic it is. It's not sour. I'm looking back at the parameters and I'm tasting it, and it's tasted the same as we've all been pulling it, and this is what the roaster is saying it should be, and we've all agreed as tasting it as people there going, yeah, this is desirable. Like, then you realize, okay, so this person maybe has never had like light roasted coffee, so they're perceiving it to be sour, but it's just more acidic than the shots they're used to at like Starbucks or Pete's. So that's where the conversation goes. Well, in the nicest way possible, you don't say like you're wrong, but you say like, yeah, usually like lighter roasted coffee is generally more acidic. And so you try to say it in the most objective but kind way, like firm but polite, and you go, yeah, we do things differently. We brew with lighter roasted coffee, so lighter roasted coffee tends to be more acidic, right? Like you don't get cocky and so sure of yourself, right? Because that's the whole point too. Is that like if you are pulling sour shots, right? Then like then the customer is right. But generally, yeah, people like associate acidic and sour as two things, but they're two different things. Like Yeah, if that makes sense. And so there's a lot of those conversations of like, have you had like light roasted coffee before? So you started sort of so you sort of determine where this conversation's going by asking the right questions. So like, if they never really have had coffee like this, then you would understand. Oh yeah, so this is so it's not so much sour, but really what you're tasting is more of the acidity because it's lighter roasted. If you don't, I can recommend something else, like maybe a different type of drink, or if you want your money back, you can, right? So you determine whether, yeah, like it's your fault, like you're pulling like bad shots, or you determine and you probe, you go like, is this your style of coffee? Oh, it's not. You've like never really had this kind of coffee, so you wouldn't be able to determine. And I'm not trying to say that in like a prideful way, but your palate hasn't been trained enough, or you haven't had this coffee enough to understand that like these light roasted coffees are generally more acidic. Number ratings won't tell you everything since it's rating more than just the coffee. If you're at a mom and pop, you're probably more interested in the atmosphere and friendliness. Exactly. So that's like, like Torrance Coffee House or Catalina Coffee House. Generally they've been pretty terrible coffee shops in the area, like serving just cheap coffee. But yeah, people go there more for the atmosphere because of Wi-Fi, lots of comfortable seating, even books, or even what's the other one? Coffee Cartel. Yeah, Coffee Cartel is known in this South Bay as like the jankiest coffee shop, but like people go there because they're open till 11 o'clock at night, and students love going there because it's very rare you have coffee shops that are open that late with all that seating. So yeah, like you said, Mason, people are going there for the atmosphere. King Jellybelly, what's going on, bro? Good afternoon. We're just talking about coffee.
You like darker roast, they're serving a lighter roast. You think the espresso tastes sour. The barista's going to hear under extracted. Oh, I messed the shot up. They're going to make the shot again. And chances are, serve you.
It's funny, is it like I actually didn't hear this fully the first time through, but he's literally saying everything I just said.
Exactly the same drink. Sometimes it's difficult to say a coffee is objectively bad.
See, listen.
They're going to make the shot serving a lighter roast really sour, let's say. You like darker roast, they're serving a lighter roast. You think the espresso tastes sour. The barista's going to hear under extracted. Oh, I messed the shot up. They're going to make the shot again. And chances are, serve you exactly the same drink. Sometimes it's difficult to say a coffee is objectively bad. I guess it can be done if you're kind of nerdy enough, but most of the time it's simply really not to your tastes, which is a different.
And so that's the point I was trying to make, is that like us with like trained and experienced palates, and we've been tasting the coffee all week. We've been tasting it from like the beginning of like when we opened the bag, and this is what the roaster is saying it should taste like. Here's the parameters, and we know we dialed in. We know it. This is how it should be tasting. And then when you get a comment like it's sour, you go, it shouldn't be, but let me remake that for you. And so that's why he's saying it's objectively hard to tell, because most times than not, it's just like you're not used to this type of coffee. It's not like bad, but it could be. But that's why he's saying you pull a second shot and taste the same. It's like most likely it's not. But you could test it with this whole VST thing here.
Now in this situation,
and check the TDS, right?
You give that cafe one more go if you really want to like the coffee from that place. But chances are that is what they do. That's the style that they serve. And that one drink is just a cost of living, a cost of experimentation, a cost of trying new places. Just jump online, do a little search, find a different place to check out the next time. Speaking of which, that brings me very neatly to a short ad from this video's sponsor.
So anyways, yeah, I just wanted to like add to because I've had very much like similar experiences with customers who have, they're new, and they're just a casual drinker who's like in the area, like, oh, let me just look for a nearest coffee shop, and for all everything up until this point they've never had specialty coffee. They come in here and they go, oh, it looks a little different. Coffee lingo's a little different. There's no frappuccinos. It's just espresso, macchiato, cortado, cappuccino, latte, drip, and a cold brew, or matcha latte, right? And that's what most specialty coffee shops are. There's no sizes. It's just you get what you get. So they're probably noticing that, but this is the first time there. So when they get your shot, or their drink, even with milk, they're like, oh man, like this is off. Anyways, we'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're gonna play through the Mario franchise. We'll continue with Game & Watch. So, yeah, give me some time. And then we'll be right back to continue playing. All right, we are back, y'all. Sorry that break was a little longer than usual, but I had to get some water. I ate a little bit of lunch, like a leftover burger from the fridge, or half of a burger. Went to the bathroom, you know the drill. But yeah, let's continue with the Mario franchise playthrough. Playing through, changing the title through the Mario franchise. Game and watch. Let's do retro. Casual playthrough. Any percent. Lap 2. Congrats, Nate. Keep it up, bro. Did the batteries die? Hold on. I think the batteries died in the controller. I'll be right back. I get some more double A's. Okay, so it was the batteries. It's working now. Okay. So every fail we take a shot, right? Yeah, I forget. What was the parameters? The exact parameters I forgot. Okay, let's boot up Game & Watch Gallery. Alright, there's our chance. Save it. Oops. Boom. Oh, missed it. I'll double check for that next time, yeah. Oh, missed it. Boom. All right. What the frig, bro? Dude, what the heck? Oh my gosh. Dude. There we go. Boom. All right, we're at the 400 mark, folks. Boom. Okay, we are starting to dial this in for sure. Oh, wait, what? Okay, there we go. Boom. Nice. Dude, we're almost at the 600 mark. Oh, I missed it. Woo! All right, we passed 600, folks. On our way to 1,000 points. Jeez. Boom. Oh, man. Boom. All right, dude, we're in the 700. In the 700s. Woo! Got him. Here we go. Boom. All right, bros. We've passed the 800 mark in terms of total points. Oh, it worked! That timing, dude. That's hard to do. Alright, it's gonna get a little tricky. Dude, come on. Dang it. Dude, you gotta be kidding me, man. Oh, this is where it's getting hard. Ooh, Right in between the barrels, bro. That was hard. Oh, right. We hit 900, dude. Just a little less than 1,000. I mean, a little less than 100, and we'll hit 1,000 in no time. So looks like you get 2 points every time you jump. Over the barrel. Woo! Almost there. Oh! Here we go. We're gonna hit 1,000 right now. Boom! Sick. There we go. I'm craving chicken katsu. Dude, that sounds good. Maybe I'll have to do that for dinner, man. Good old L&L, bro. Chicken katsu, mac salad rice. You can't go wrong with that. So we've rolled over 1,000. I'm just gonna finish the last 3 lives the best I can. Without any quick saves, and then whatever score that is, then we'll end it there. Dang. I'm like surprised. I'm like, I've lasted this long. Ah, frick it. Let's just end this. There we go. High score, 1,100. All right. There's a new Game & Watch game in the museum in the gallery corner. I wonder which one it could be. All right, we got 43 stars. Dude, very cool. All right, so let's pull up our handy dandy notebook. Yeah, dude, my favorite go-to at L&L's is the chicken katsu mini, because the regular is just too much, bro. It's just honestly so much food. Mini chicken katsu, you get the max side, you get the rice, you get the katsu sauce to dip it in, and a side of spam musubi. Come on. Donkey Kong. Yes, today is 6/18/22. Boom! Okay, so let's pull RetroArch back up. Boxing. That's the one I have not got 5 stars in. So this one we got to get to 1,000, right? Yo, Nate, I might need your help in this one. Nate, I might need your help with this one. Because the point system is different on this. How do you get... So, remember, it's every 200 points is a star, but how do you get stars in this point system? Is it's like... It seems like it's... Is it by... It's by KOs, right? Basically, how many... Because it doesn't look like it's the same point system like 1,000. It's like... We each get 50 points, which is our health. Whoever gets to 0 first loses. And then you have KOs, and it gives you just 1 point for a KO. So, like, what does that mean? Knockout. 2 KOs. Okay, so what does that mean? So it's how many KOs equals a... I'm guessing so many KOs equals a star, right?
One knockout equal 1 point, 3 points, 1 star. So we need 3. So 3 knockouts per star. So we need 5 stars. So how many is that? 15 knockouts? Am I doing it right? What's the math? How many stars are there per game? Right? There's 1,000. You get a star per 200. So it's you can get 5 stars per game for every 200. So what's the math here? 3 KOs equals 1 star. 15 points to complete. So complete. Okay. My high score is 9. Knockout. I got 1 star. Jeez, it's gonna take forever, bro. Four KOs. Jeez. Alright, let's just save it there. We'll come back to that, but... Boxing. Did we do boxing? Is it on here? Well, we said we beat it, but I don't think we... I'll have to double check. It says on March 26th that we beat it, but according to the game, it says we only got 3 stars. So that's why, like, So that's why I started it up again just now, because I was like, well, looks like we only got 3 stars. So if we're trying to grind to unlock fire attack, it's like, you know, we need all the stars we can get, so I guess maybe we stopped at 3 stars, because that's what it says we have. That's my top score. So either it didn't save. I'll have to go back and check the stream from 3/26/22, that VOD. Maybe we only did get like 9 stars, and we said, "Oh, well, you've seen it all," because we didn't know whether you can actually beat the game. But it looks like you can. It's just a different point system. All right, let's transfer over to Call of Duty. All right, let's start her up, shall we? Okay, let's go. That's right, we are on the British campaign, aren't we? That's right, we're at the dam level. I want this, but I'm trying to play the whole level with this. Oh man. This is a Car 98. How am I not picking up more rounds, dude? It's like not like specialty rounds, dude. I should be replenishing my ammo by picking up Car 98s. Oh, one more shot. Make it count. Oh, he's dead. Oh, man. What? Another one? Oh man, we gotta go all the way to the top? Oh, come on. Woo! I want these.
Die Kommunikation zu den Einheiten unten am Damm ist abgeschnitten. Leutnant K., stellen Sie mit Ihrem Trupp die Verbindung wieder her. Kompanie sofort zum Parkplatz. Der Feind hat die Garnison überrannt und zerstört die Transporter.
Holy moly. Oh, is that my first death? No, it's not.
Kritische SAS-Einheiten haben den Damm betreten. Feindliche Truppen sind durchgebrochen. Eindringlinge, Sektor 6, Ebene B entdeckt. British Commando, we have captured your commanding officer and secured the exit. You have no hope of escape. Give up now, and we will spare the lives of you and your fellow soldiers. Zweite und fünfte Kompanie sofort zum Parkplatz. Der Feind hat die Garnison überrannt und zerstört die Transporter. Zweite und fünfte Kompanie sofort zum Parkplatz. Der Feind hat die Garnison überrannt und zerstört die Transporter. Zweite und fünfte Kompanie sofort zum Parkplatz. Der Feind hat die Garnison überrannt und zerstört die Transporter. Zweite und fünfte Kompanie sofort zum Parkplatz. Der Feind hat die Garnison überrannt und zerstört die Transporter.
Let's go.
Good man, in the truck, hop on.
Okay, objectives. Following the conclusion of operations of the dam, evade capture and reach an airfield approximately miles away. Static defense in area of operations. Unknown enemy is likely to erect roadblocks and deploy motorized patrols in order to prevent your escape from the area. Any assault on the enemy will be responded to by troops from neighboring towns and garrisons. Both military and civilian population will be placed in high state of alertness. The lorry we state was apparently carrying a large shipment of Panzerfaust 60s, a sort of short-range, single-use and disposable anti-tank weapons. They'll come in handy if pursued, not a bad find at all. Use enemy weapons and assets as required in the event of your equipment if it's destroyed or expended. Destroy bridges and create improvised obstacles to delay pursuit of the enemy.
Are you ready, mates? Take this Panzerfaust. Lorry behind us. We're in sight. Take him out. Here you go. Here you go.
Hey, I like this.
Fire it, damn it! Fire it, damn it! We just have to make it across. It's booby traps to blow when we shoot. Damn it! Subject license in sight. Take this sniper on. Cover me while I do my hand.
Hold on. Music is so loud in this game. Hold on. Ah. Let's just drop the overall volume because. Oh boy, here we go. Whoa, here we go. And the Panzerfaust. There we go. I'm trying to wait for turn for a straight shot. I don't want to shoot when we're turning. Huh? There we go. No more Panzerfaust. Oh! Come on. I'm curious in veteran there's no health here you can pick up intermittently. Whoa! Freaking hey, where are we going?
God, we made it. I don't bloody believe it.
Upon successful arrival at the airfield, procure aircraft on site, exfiltrate via pre-planned air route, delay pursuit and interception by destroying any parked aircraft not essential to your escape. Our loose bombs were lost in the drop of the dam, so we'll need to find a high caliber automatic weapon on site to do the job instead. Static defenses in area of operations. A small regional garrison, mainly consisting of rear guard troops, is known to service the airfield on a year-round basis. AA defenses may include guns ranging from 20mm to 88mm state of alertness. Dam garrison will have issue a general warning throughout the area. By this time, the airfield may be more heavily reinforced than is customary as a result. Outline, disperse at the airfield. Light trained members of the squad will move the aircraft in position for takeoff. Remaining squad members all shall defend the stolen aircraft until that time, while inflicting as much damage as possible on the other enemy aircraft parked on the tarmac. Okay.
We're coming up on that airfield where the rest of the team has assembled. They radioed that they're finding an escaped plane.
Oh, yes, I remember this part of the game. I think I'm supposed to get in here, right? Come on! Then take care of the guys in the building, my gosh. Okay, take care of those dudes on the roof. Come on. Doing everybody's job here, man. Come on. Jeez.
There they are! That's our plane! Blimey! They're huge!
Woo! Let's get the heck out of here. Oh, let's see. Price and I are going on board. If we are captured, the Geneva Convention won't help us. There's little doubt we'll be executed as spies. Objectives to further cripple battleship turrets in preparation for pending RAF bombing missions, demolitions of the ship's boilers and radar systems to recover patrol logs and documented orders indicating recent fleet movements of Kriegsmarine vessels. These are most likely on or near the bridge. Static defenses in the area of operations. Norwegian resistance reports ships undergoing repairs and damage appraisal near Tromsø. Skeleton crew reported with majority of crew members on shore leave throughout Akoya and Tromsø region. State of alertness. The enemy is preoccupied with anti-air defense as they are aboard a heavily armed and escorted ship. Your expectation of being boarded is likely to be low. The Norwegian resistance reports that a small watercraft is scheduled to transfer new officers to the turrets from the Tromsø region at 1900 hours. Intercept it, liquidate the occupants, and take their place with aid of forged documents and appropriate tire rank supplied by SOE. All right. Taking a bit, isn't it?
Hold right here. Okay, we're clear to approach. Evans, you and I will need to get below decks and find the armor before we can cripple the engines. Stick with me, and unless your Germans include, let me handle the talking. Waters, you stay here. Be ready to leave at a moment's notice.
Bitte Erlaubnis, an Bord kommen zu dürfen.
Erlaubnis erteilt. Dürfte ich wohl Ihre Papiere sehen? Wo ist Fregattenkapitän Schmidt?
Er musste zu einem dringenden Treffen mit Admiral Dönitz.
Alles in Ordnung. Willkommen an Bord.
Yeah, I was gonna say, am I following you? You're following me because you're walking slow.
We should be able to get below through that hangar.
Dürfte ich wohl Ihre Papiere mal sehen? Ich muss das überprüfen. Einen Moment bitte. Ich habe einen Offizier hier. Er sagt, er habe Papiere.
Grab a weapon and explosives, quick! The ship's boilers lie in these passageways. Place your charges as we go. Place me
Boy. Just making sure there's no explosives. The plant here. Okay, yep. Okay. Whoa. Now this would be a prime place to plant a bomb. Heading to the Esplanade. Alright, tight. Cool, cool, cool. Is there another place to plant? Confused. There's just one in like a loop. Maybe it's above me? I don't get it. Oh, back to the boat. Let's go. Dude, you cannot sprint in this game. My goodness.
We lost
Oh
the
my.
captain. Damn, that was a very fine man. Let's get the hell out of here.
How did we lose him? He took off running. What? He died? Oh boy, here's the Russian campaign. We all know how this is gonna go.
Comrades of the Soviet Union, almost 1 year has passed since the German invaders set foot upon the soil of our motherland. They have advanced deep into the Soviet Union, capturing city after city, raping, murdering, and robbing the Soviet people. Although our situation grows desperate, we have one last hope of defense. The city that bears our great leader's name, Stalingrad. Comrades, many of your countrymen are already there, defying the Germans at every step. Soon you will stand alongside them, and you will not fail to defeat our fascist enemies. No one shall take even one step backwards. Commissars will execute cowards on sight, giving faithful soldiers a chance to do their duty. The motherland is counting on you to achieve victory at Stalingrad.
Okay. Okay. Order 227 by the People's Commission of Defense of the USSR. It is time to stop the retreat, not a single step back. This shall be our slogan from now on. We must protect every strong point and every meter of Soviet soil stubbornly to the last droplet of blood. We shall grab every piece of our soil and defend it as long as possible. The Germans are not as strong as the panic mongers say. They are stretching their strength to the limit. To withstand their blow now means to ensure victory in the future. All who retreat without orders from above are traitors of the motherland and will be treated as such. Panic mongers, traitors, and cowards are to be exterminated on sight. To fulfill this order means to defend our country, to save our motherland, and to destroy and overcome the hated enemy. This is the call of our motherland. People's Commissar of Defense, Joseph Stalin.
Comrades, this day will be the proudest day you have ever lived. You will fight the fascist Nazi invaders with all your strength. For each and every fallen Soviet soldier, you will make them pay with 10 of them. There will be no mercy for defeatists, cowards, or traitors. Anyone caught deserting his post will be shot. Remember great Comrade Stalin's order. Not one step backward. You will be well equipped for the battles that lie ahead. You will have food, water, weapons, and plenty of ammunition. What do you suppose the Germans have? Nothing. without the means to bring us a proper fight. With our superior strength in numbers and our boundless courage, victory is ours. We shall stop the fascist invaders there at Stalingrad.
What the heck?
This day you have
What?
never lived.
I was supposed to duck?
You will fight the fascist Nazi
Oh,
invaders with
please.
all your strength.
Oh my gosh.
And every fallen Soviet
I'm
soldier,
just gonna stay ducked.
you will make them pay with 10 of them. There will be no mercy
Jeez.
for defeated cowards or traitors. Anyone caught deserting his post will be shot. Remember great comrade Stalin's order. Not one step backward. You will be well equipped for the battles that lie ahead. You will have food, water, weapons, and plenty of ammunition. What do you suppose the Germans have? Nothing. Their supply lines are stretched too thin. Their dash to the Volga has left them without the means to bring us a proper fight. With our superior strength in numbers and our boundless courage, victory is ours. We shall stop the fascist invaders there at Stalingrad.
No retreat! Kill them! Kill the deserters! Stop those traitors!
Jeez. That's like when everybody in the boat just like overpowers these guys and like kills them. Oh, great. I'm just the ammo guy. I made it to the Riviera. Nice. Jeez Louise.
empty! You go first! Let's head for that red car over there! Wait for them to change out their bills! Ready? Okay, go, go! You'll be safer in that building down there. Don't worry about that, Commissar. I'll take care of it. Ready? Okay, go, go!
Where's his gun? Wait, what?
Get on some artillery support, Sergeant. I'm almost out of ammunition. We're going to lose the door.
What the hell do you think I am trying to do, comrade? What? Repeat your last sentence. I can barely hear you, Major. Speak out! Okay. In position. Okay. Hi. I want a full barrage along the top of the riverbank immediately. Smash those bishop bastards! Fire up there! Everyone, get your heads down!
Okay, stop shaking, my goodness. Okay, we get the point. Holy moly, I'm gonna be sick.
The Germans are pulling back. Come on, comrades. We're retaking Red Square.
Yes.
Turn around. Keep going forward. Shoot! No retreat. Not one step back. No open fire.
No hesitation, comrades! Do not take one step backwards!
For Mother Russia, comrades. Do not turn your back on her.
Victory or death!
Wait, where's my gun? Where's the MP40, dude? Oh my gosh. What a crappy saving system, dude. Are you kidding me? That's a good save point. Woo! Alright, well, we've been streaming for 3 hours, 36 minutes. Quite a while. Pretty good stream, right? We had fun drinking our coffee, watching a coffee video, playing some Mario. Then we ended up playing some Call of Duty. So hey, we etching away, chipping away at our playthroughs. So that was fun. Don't know when we'll be back. Hopefully next week, during the week. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Yep, I guess just keep notifications on because that's when you'll know when I go live next. But yeah, I guess I will